Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about something heavy, even for this channel, so I'm going to put a content warning right here. We are going to be talking about neo-Nazis, Nazis, anti-Semitism, racism, anti-LGBT plus behavior, all of that. So basically there is a tweet that went pretty viral. There are some articles that have come out since. Everything will be linked down below per usual. But basically this is what happened. Quote, several anti-drag groups, including avowed neo-Nazis, White Lives Matter, Proud Boys, Patriot Front, and non-affiliated conservative activists protested outside a drag show today at a public park in Wadsworth, Ohio. Pedophiles get the rope, chanted an armed neo-Nazi group, waving swastika flags at the families attending the all-ages event. Go home. Sieg Heil, they chanted while pointing stiff-armed salutes at attendees. There will be blood. Hey, there's a gay right there.
Right next to the abomination. Pedophiles, get the rope! 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 One more condition! One more solution!
So as you can see, this is actually not particularly related to drag. Yes, I do think the LGBT plus community is being targeted, but it's being targeted, in my opinion, because the groups that are here, any group that is related to Nazis, whether it's people who still just call themselves Nazis, whether it's neo-Nazis, the Proud Boys, all of these groups, and even historically, back when we're talking about the OG Nazis, I can't believe I had to say OG Nazis, that in and of itself is horrifying. Even the Nazis back in 30s, 40s were against anything that was outside of heterosexuality, at least in public. So it's wild to me that these people are being kind of put out there or framed as anti-drag when the reality is, like, no, there are a lot of things that come before them being anti-drag. It's like they hate a group of people just for being who they are, be it Jewish people, people of color generally, be it people in the LGBTQ plus community. And so, by definition, they also hate this drag hour or whatever. This whole hate campaign is not about this one isolated event that doesn't really affect their lives whatsoever. They're using this event in order to just be hateful and be like, oh, well, we're actually here because we're really mad about this. But the reality is, you're going around calling people the N-word. You're saying Sieg Heil, so really, let's not pretend that drag is at the top of your shit list. Truly the fuck not. You're just using this as a reason to go the fuck off and be hateful like that, and then you're gonna just point the finger and be like, oh, it's because... Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, there's a lot that can be said, and I'm not gonna be able to cover all of it, I'm sure, but the reason why I want to talk about this is that what scares me, and this is a topic that's been recurring here, so this shouldn't surprise you at all, is the pedophile comment. Because I lived this in the sense of I saw it with my own two eyes. You guys probably have seen it with your own two eyes as well, if you're close to my age especially. There were people around me, whether it had been adults at school, people that have been cut off from my family, stuff like that, who really associated being LGBT plus with being a pedophile. And that was such an ingrained thing when I was a kid, and I remember it specifically because there were times when I was too young to understand what it meant to be gay and what it meant to be a pedophile that I'm not going to say I thought it was interchangeable. I didn't really understand, okay, like, what are the separations between these groups, which is like a bad person and which is a good person, you know, kid think, right? By linking pedophiles with anyone in the LGBTQ plus community, we're really setting a fucked up precedent that is dangerous, seems like the biggest understatement in the world. Also because here, they're saying pedophiles get the rope. So basically what you're saying is that drag, in your opinion, includes pedophilia as a central element, and then also what you're saying is that the community around drag, which, let's be real, is going to be the LGBTQ plus community, is also pedophilic. So you see that there's this massive lumping of pedophiles and the LGBTQ plus community. That scares me because not only is that based on nothing except for old stereotypes and homophobic shit, to be real, there's no other connection there, but what you are saying is indirectly death to all of these people that I simply not only do not agree with, but do not respect as human beings. This thread is long, and I really, really suggest you look at it because there is a lot to be said, but like I said, I don't think I can properly cover all of this. There's another moment, which I think is important to point out, where it says, the Proud Boys were also at the anti-drag protest in Ohio today, but tried to distance themselves from the avowed Nazi groups. We're all here for the same reason, a White Lives Matter Ohio guy said. We are, but go the other way, Proud Boys replied. They're civic nationalists, explained a White Lives Matter guy. We're white nationalists. White Lives Matter said they'd like to be in coalition. Yeah, I'll beat up Antifa in the woods with them. 3% supporters stood with the White Lives Matter guys. I tried to ask him why he stands with them, and they told him not to talk to me, explaining he's just looking for information before calling me a... I return to my main point. Basically, none of this is about the drag show to begin with. This is about the drag show because the drag show happened to be there, but when we're looking at the conversations being had, is anyone really talking about the drag show, the problem at hand with the drag show, whatever that problem may be? No one's talking about that. People are dropping slurs, and then people are trying to disassociate from each other, which I almost think is funny because it's so laughably stupid. If you're a Proud Boy and you're trying to distance yourself from the Nazi groups, but then a White Lives Matter person is like, we're all here for the same reason, and then a Proud Boy says we are, but go over there, it's like, we all know you guys have some of the same core beliefs in common. For the White Lives Matter people to go that way and for the Proud Boys to go that way, it's not changing anything, guys. Like, one of you might be carrying a swastika flag and the other guy is in chainmail for some reason. Okay, that doesn't disassociate you guys at all. If you say for yourself that you're all there for the same reason, but for some reason you have to disassociate yourselves from each other, what are you trying to do? Like, who are you trying to confuse? And it becomes even more laughable because within these hate groups, there are different levels, I guess. I don't know if they've created a hierarchy, because it says, when the neo-Nazi group Blood Tribe, led by Chris Pohlhaus, first showed up, the police actually had to defend them from fellow anti-drag activists. The Nazis called other anti-drag activists weak. They're fighting amongst each other. It's like all these groups that are supposedly here for the same reason aren't even agreeing on the reason that they're there. So it's like, if you're really here because you have a problem with drag, shouldn't you all just be on the same page? But the fact that you have to go in different directions because you don't want to associate with each other, or because one of you guys is supposedly weaker than the other, you're all here on the same general page. Now, the reason you're at this specific event might be slightly different, but the belief system that they share, the things they have in common, are there. So it just seems ridiculous to me to pretend like that's not the case. Do you understand why I'm confused here? Because it's like, what are you trying to not associate with? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid that it's going to look bad? That you're associating with Proud Boys, neo-Nazis, and whatever other group that is really just there to be hateful? I truly can't believe this is where we're at in 2023, but I'm gonna stop here in a second. The neo-Nazi Blood Tribe group did not get along well with White Lives Matter Ohio. Weimar conditions, the two groups chanted together outside the drag event. Weimar solutions. Heil Hitler, yelled the Nazis as they waved swastika flag. And I return to, do you see why this has basically nothing to do with the drag shows? Because there was nothing being even said. You were just furthering the hateful narrative and ideology of Hitler, and in other cases of your own little subcategory group that, you know, is not that far away from Hitler's belief system. Okay, so apologies, you might hear a snoring dog in the background, but in some of these screenshots and in the videos in the thread that I'll have linked down below, the Twitter thread that I continue to reference, there are some people in the background who have signs that say, don't let your kids near drag queens, don't let your kids near slur X, Y, or Z. So there are people that are there to protest drag, but let us be clear that the majority of what is getting publicity has no argument or narrative specifically against drag. It's an identity attack. That's the main key point I want to really underline here. I'm sure they fucking hate drag too, but here that's a little asterisk compared to, oh, I don't know, just thinking whole groups of people should be dead because of who they are. I don't understand what any of this was supposed to do. It caused chaos. They didn't make any statement. Like, if someone had to say what their point was, nobody would know because they weren't making a statement. But all these separate little hate groups were together arguing with each other. Anyway, I really don't know what to say about this that isn't obvious. I am just entirely disgusted by the fact that this is still happening, but more than anything, I'm disgusted that certain people want to take these really strong positions of hating people in the LGBT, hating Jewish people, hating people of color, hating black people, but then when it comes to actually living by their own word, they'll only go halfway, as in they'll say all this horrible, hateful shit, like truly basically asking for a second Holocaust, but then they're going to hide their faces. So the two things don't even align to me, where you have these brazen takes that you don't even back up yourself, and then you go and tell other parties that have your same belief system basically that they're weaker than you. So you're more Nazi or out-Naziing the other Nazis. Like, what is this? I'm gonna leave it there, but you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, I'll link all the articles that are relevant, so if you want to check in, I would suggest looking it up because there's more information coming out every day, some as recent as a couple of hours ago as of when I'm filming. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.